Hey there guys, this is Flamzeron, aka YouTube Sasuke. Last night I finished Soulcalibur Broken Destiny after finishing Tales of Versus a while ago. Or well, sort of finished. I finished the story mode at least, so I don't have every character. I'm missing like Eugene. But I've finished that game as far as the story goes. Um, I finished the game last night. It's story mode at least, and so I figured I should give my thoughts on it. Since, the last video I did on this game was really more about the idea the game hadn't even come out yet. I think it was going to come out like 2 weeks later or something. But yeah, here are my thoughts. To start off with, this game really, its graphics are actually pretty good. It looks like a PS2 game. It almost looks like Soulcalibur 4 if it was made for like the PS2 or something. But everything else is just, I mean, for one thing, its selection of like different modes you can do isn't that good. It doesn't even have a real versus mode. It's either fight. It's like Soul Calibur 5, how like you had to fight like pre-made like versions with like funny names and like either custom characters or like you know some kind of weird people. I think it's like the ghost of other players, but I'm not entirely sure. And then they've got just a versus mode which is two-player only, so you can't just like fight a computer or something. I mean, if you really want to just fight an enemy, you'll have to go into training mode, even though you can only technically kill the enemy with your throwing stuff. Because without that, you're just going to be fighting over and over and over, and you'll probably get better, but at the same time, you're not going to get a lot of fun playtime. Sorry, still got a little bit of allergies, I think. And now on to the big feature of this game, the gauntlet. Ooh, yeah, I did not like it. For one thing, it doesn't even feel like a story mode. It's like a friggin' tutorial on how to like beat all the characters or like how to like defend yourselves against them. It's like 33, I think, or 32 missions of like how to beat everybody. And the story is basically you're just some random person. You could be any character you want, and you're traveling on with Cassandra and Hilda, and Dampierre. He joins your party like at some point, trying to find like some antidote or some ingredients to make like a thing for Ivy to bring back Cervantes, and in turn you end up fighting everybody. As far as the story goes, it is a complete and utter joke. It's almost as if they're making fun of the whole thing. Like, there's a part where Susamo's like just thinking about stuff, and he like mutters to himself just random stuff, like, "Huh, high divorce rates, anime." It's like, okay, what does that have to do with anything? And Yin Sung's like, "Space is scary," and all that weird stuff. And friggin' Nightmare's scared, and he is apparently dating Tyra. Or Tira. He better not be dating Tyra. I'll have to beat him up. Anyway. And, the whole story is just sort of dumb. I didn't read any of the text, so I don't know a lot of the details. I just know of basically what has happened throughout the cutscenes. And I must say, the cutscenes look pretty good. They have voiceovers at the appropriate time. They have music at the appropriate times, and sound effects and little animations for the skits. It's almost like watching, a Tales skit, but it's interesting. It's probably how Weapon Masters should have been done as far as like the actual storytelling goes. And the missions, kind of dumb. All it is just like, oh, inflict damage on your opponent, or dodge your opponent's attacks, or guard against your opponent, or something like that. It's all really, really stupid stuff. I mean, it's not even story mode. It's more like an in-depth tutorial on how to beat everybody, like I said earlier. And it was comforting for the very last mission to show, like, use everything you've learned to beat up the Algol. And, it's pretty obvious that this game takes place at the end of Soul Calibur 4, which is probably why the story's a little messed up, because, I mean, if Soul Calibur 4 really was supposed to be the last one, then Soul Calibur Broken Destiny was probably, just whatever. It's just sort of like what's everyone up to. The cameo of Edgemaster was kind of cool. He wasn't an actual playable character, though. He was just sort of in some cutscenes, like You must take his beard, which I thought was sort of dumb. And I remember Keely being like, I'm going to protect my master's beard. That's my imitation of Grant George, by the way. Anyway, and so the story mode, which is essentially the gauntlet mode, it was not that good. I guess it was okay. Its presentation of the story for what it is pretty good. The story itself is stupid, and I feel like it's trying to make fun of Soulcalibur slightly because just of what goes on, because everything's just so ridiculous. But and the actual gameplay up to the final point is not that good. Because not really not that good. It's tedious for one thing, and two, it's just not fun. At least not for me. If you like knowing if you're one of those technical fighter gamers who like to know every single way to defeat an enemy, then this will probably help you out with Soulcalibur. And now on to the character customization. It's not much of an improvement from Soulcalibur 4. I'll be honest, I don't really like Soulcalibur 4's customization all that much. Yeah, the graphics are improved, and yeah, there's more hairstyles and more stuff, but still, like in Soulcalibur 4, there's no triple layering with the shirts or the pants. I can understand I can understand for the pants that's sort of useless, but what if you want to have a belt or something? It's like a second section of like items, which I think is dumb and stupid. And I also think it's dumb how you still can't use custom classes. You have to choose as far as your character's battle style, you have to choose one of the current characters, and you can't even choose Algal or Kratos. I mean, I can understand I can understand. I mean, I can kind of understand what they were going with that, but still, it would have been nice. And I can understand what they were doing with the whole choose like one of the Soulcalibur characters fighting style. They probably wanted the game to be more simple as far as the customization goes, but one of the things I loved about Soulcalibur 3's customization was that it was a little more advanced, and besides, with the whole idea of the whole Soul Crush thing and the whole critical finisher, it makes your custom characters seem less original. I'm a writer, like I've said a million times, and so I have my own share of characters, and I like to make them in games like this. And for the most part, I think I've captured what weapons they use. But still, it makes them seem less original. At least with Soulcalibur 3, even though the customization wasn't perfect, you could still, make your character look original by using a different fighting style. And, of course, they made it to where you couldn't add on extra items and, customize the regular Soulcalibur characters, which made sense. I mean, it was on the PSP. They probably couldn't do much. You could change their color, though. That was kind of cool. Sorry. But, yeah, the customization, still a little not perfect. I mean, if they would just combine Soulcalibur 3 and Soulcalibur 4's, stuff with the triple layering, the custom classes, the hairstyles of both games, the faces of both games, and making facial hair separate from the face. I mean, that's so dumb. I mean, what if you want to have a scruff? You have to choose the old man face, not use your young face and give him a scruff to make him look like he has a fake beard. Anyway, and one thing that I do think is kind of cool is how they have the whole special section area where you can give your guy a tail, which is actually pretty useful, or you can give your guy a little parrot, and then they have that that whole shifting thing where you can position certain items to where you want, which actually works because there's some items that could probably be like a headband, like there's a girl headband, some weird little thing that kind of goes on the top of the head, but you can position it to where it actually looks like a real headband, and that's kind of cool. Sorry, had to clear my throat a little bit. But yeah, so in conclusion of that, the customization, it's a little better, but still not much. Another thing I forgot to mention, they took out the whole the sizing mechanic thing, how you could change the character's size, which I don't understand because Phantasy Star Portable has that. I mean, yeah, the graphics probably aren't as good as Soulcalibur Broken Destiny, but still, they should at least, try.